to it and keep it going.
What's your training schedule looking like nowadays?
Yeah, so basically I usually train Monday through Friday. Sometimes I do get one extra day on the weekend. Yeah, I usually got a whole little thing set up for myself throughout the week. Do a lot of stuff outside, a lot of running, a lot of conditioning, really. Foot drills and stuff like that. Just trying to keep my body and my muscle memory there, and just be prepared and ready for whenever it's time to go.
Yeah, I've become best friends with the treadmill over these past couple of months because sometimes the weather's not there, but I push myself to get that cardio in because I don't have the full gym available and everything.
Absolutely. I could agree with that.
Yeah, man. Listen, obviously we're here to talk a bit about the mental side of football. Looking back at your career, what was the earliest time that you remember when it kind of clicked into you how important the mental side of football was to your performance and being a pro?
Well, I could really go back into like Little League. I knew it was times where like I got hit and got my bell rung. So as a football player, when you get your bell rung and like when you like, oh, I feel a little different, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, honestly, like I've always tried to keep my body and like keep especially like my brain and my head like protected as much as I possibly could. Like I never really tried to like, use my head, going forward and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes you do just because you're trying to protect yourself and it happens, you know what I mean? But if I'm able to, avoid the helmet-to-helmet hits, I try to as much as I can. But at the same time, like it's football. Like when I play, I'm saying, you sign up for this. Yeah. So you have to understand like this is part of the game. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in the era where, there was no targeting. Like before there was no targeting, and that's what we watched growing up. It was good hits. You know what I mean? And like I said before, at some point you have to realize that the mental game it's nothing to play with, man. You can't play with your brain because it can cause a lot of problems, issues in your life.
Growing up, you mentioned football is such a physical sport. Was that in the back of your mind when you're, playing maybe high school ball or something, that getting hit, or is something you're able to block out from the get-go?
See, the thing is, I block it out just because, like I said before, you have to understand, like, this is part of the game. So you have to know, like, going into like this can happen. But, like me personally, I loved it because, like, I love the contact and I love hitting. I love, like, it was just a way to, you can get some anger out. You know what I'm saying? You could get some stress out, like, without getting in trouble, without having to deal with, it being a legal issue. And that's how I always looked at it. Like, even when I was in high school, I played defensive back, and I used to love to hit. Like, I love to hit people, like, and it was fun. I think it comes down to, basically, the proper way of, hitting in football and how it's being taught. And, the game has changed now. It's changed a lot now. You see a lot more, head injuries that's going on now. And guys, you got to understand, because there's guys that's getting bigger and faster and stronger too. So you have to understand the game is going to keep adjusting, and it's going to keep going into different ways.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about what it was like growing up and kind of realizing that football was an option for you pro-wise, and maybe a bit about in high school, how, you're starting to get more hype from whether it was the media or the fans or whatever, and you're starting to see college scouts and everything come in. What was that like mentally to you? Yeah.
So growing up, playing football in the beginning was for something so my mom could keep me out of trouble. She wanted me to be involved in things, you know what I'm saying, to, keep me from doing stuff in the streets that I didn't need to be doing, or, just being in places where I didn't need to be. So it became a love to me. I love playing the game, and, going through middle school and then getting to high school. At some point it had a register in my mind when I moved with my father that, college is expensive. It's very expensive. And I knew that there was an opportunity for me to, use my talents and get a scholarship to play somewhere. And I knew that my family couldn't afford for me to go to college. So by any means, I had to make something happen. And like I said, I love the game so much. In high school, I had coaches that, put me in the right positions to be successful. And I also took advantage of them opportunities. Which, I always ask young guys now, what's your why and what, like, why are you doing it and what you're doing it for? And I feel like once you figure that out in life, that, that goes with any job. When you find out why you're doing it and what you're doing it for, it takes you to the next level. You know what I mean? And from high school, I knew it from middle school. I always knew that from middle school. Like at some point, like this is what I want to do, and this is what is going to help me get out of, situations that I don't need to be in or that I don't want to be in, or this is going to give me an opportunity to help my family, in the long run. And I got seven brothers and sisters, so I would do anything for them. And high school, just the recruiting process was crazy. My first visit I ever went on was I went to Penn State in 8th grade. I went to Penn State in 8th grade. My high school coach at the time was George Curry. He passed away, but he's the winningest coach ever in Pennsylvania high school football. And he took me there. He told him, he's like, listen, you guys are going to want to see this guy in about three years. And literally spoke it into existence, man. Got to high school, and my sophomore year, I played receiver, and I had a really, really good year. I only had like 31 catches for over like 800 yards and like 12 touchdowns. And then I moved to quarterback my junior and senior year because we didn't really have anybody to throw me the ball. And at the time before that, I was playing quarterback coming up, so it was already embedded in me. And then but a lot of my offers, they really started coming in after my sophomore year. My sophomore year of high school, I played receiver basically the whole year, and they started coming in, and the process was great. My dad had went through the recruiting process before, so he was but he was the basketball way, so it was a little bit different. But he kind of told me like kind of how it worked, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity being able to see different schools and meet different people and go all over the world, man. It's a blessing. It was a blessing.
You talked a bit about like some of your motivation, the why towards it, and the pressure you may have felt of getting to college because it's so expensive, and your brothers and sisters and your mom and everything. And I think even for adults, that's a lot of pressure to deal with. Yeah. They come under the pressure. For you being 14 or 15-year-old kid and realizing that, I think it speaks a lot to the character development that goes on at that age for you, and how it's translated for you being the player you are today, going through all that adversity at such a young age.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I had to grow up fast, man. I had to, you know what I'm saying? My mom, she worked a couple jobs, to provide for me and my brothers and my sisters. And I appreciate her for everything that she ever, she still does for me. And, happy Mother's Day to her today. You know what I mean? I appreciate my mom and all the moms out there. But, yeah, my mom, she always taught me, to, always, just be tough in everything that you do, because this world is not easy, and they don't care at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you got to be able to be independent and figure things out on your own and make things happen when they need to happen. And that was the same thing basically with my father. When I moved with my father, he just taught me in the man way at that point in time. It was, this is what you, for to be a man and to go through things, and this is what you got to do. And, they both did exactly what they needed to do, for me to get to where I want to get to. And it was really just my resilience, man. I say that all the time. My resilience is what drove me to not give up on anything. Like, I like finishing things, so at the end of the day. So, I appreciate both of them for everything they did for me.
It's always fascinating to me how much like carryover there is between someone's personal life and their athletic career. Like, the mental lessons you learn in your personal life from your mom and your dad and probably your brothers and sisters as well, they carry on to you on the football field as well, and vice versa. When you're on a football team and you learn how to problem solve and, work as a team and take criticism, that helps you in your personal life as well. It's always fascinating to me. So I always tell kids, play as many sports as you can, because the mental lessons you learn in sports are just inevitably going to help you in your personal life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can tell you, like, right now, like, playing football and playing basketball most of my life, like, I'm so mentally strong. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, like, how mentally strong it literally makes you, because especially college, man. Like, college is, I think, is the most mentally, like, brutal like transition out of all like, even it's more than professional, more than high school, more than little leagues, just because college is, for one, you got to go to class. Like, the schedule and the structure is literally, it's wild. And you got to understand that there's coaches and things like that. They're going to talk to you a different type of way that you might not be used to, and your parents don't even talk to you like that. And for some guys, that's a mental thing that you have to get through. Like, you're not used to people, criticizing you or telling you bad things and telling you good things, but then telling you bad things again. It's just like, it seems like everything is just so wishy-washy. But the thing about it is, people gotta understand, like, that's what makes us so mentally tough, because you get to the point where you don't hear the tone, but you hear the message. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, sometimes, like, the tone can sound so wrong, but the message is what they really getting you to try to hear. And like, just happen to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning workouts for winter workouts. Then you might got an 8 a.m. class, and then you probably got class from 8 a.m. to about 1:30. Then you got to get ready for film at 2:45. Then you got practice. Like, it's not a lot of things that I can say that really, like, can get under my skin. It's only a few things, but I'm grateful, because it made me, like, a very, very, very mentally and physically tough person.
There's a lot of sacrifice that goes on behind the scenes. When someone watches a football game, they see someone catching a touchdown or making a play. That's all they see, right? And they're like, oh, I want to have that life. And that seems like the best life. But they don't see the 24-hour grind that goes on behind the scenes and the sacrifices athletes have to make. Yeah,
absolutely. I tell guys this all the time, like high school dudes. I say, listen, everybody want to be D1 until they got to wake up at 5 in the morning and do workouts. You know what I'm saying? Every week. Yeah. And like you said, everybody just sees the TV and it looks all fun. But, like, for one, like, when you get on a team, like, you understand, like, it's a family. Like, it's literally people that you would probably die for on that team. Like, it's crazy how close guys can get, and how far, what I'm saying, coming together can get you. Like, even, and the thing is, like, I used to have things going on back home, like during the season. Like, I would have to go home, take care of some things, and come back, and, like, you know what I mean? Some people don't have to go through that. And this is what I always say, like, is don't judge anybody in their situation, because you have no idea what they going on, you know what I'm saying, in their personal life. Like, because some people's perspectives are only on somebody's, athletic life or the things that they do on the field, but you don't know what that person is going through. You don't know, what could have possibly, they could have had a family member that died, you know what I mean? Or, something bad could have happened. And some people don't talk about it because that's not what they do. Being mentally tough, you don't usually figure out a way to, get through it yourself. And, but sometimes you need somebody to talk to about some of that stuff, man. You need somebody to just be like, listen, I just need to say this so y'all can understand, like, what I'm going through. And this is the reason why this and this has been happening. But, at the end of the day, like, you just got to find a way to, mentally, practice how to get through things. And that was a big thing for me.
That's what I always do now. I feel like I've gotten a lot better myself at doing is giving people benefit of the doubt. If they switch up their attitude for one day, I always have the assumption that, something's going on behind the scenes, and let me see what's going on here, because nine times out of 10, it's just something they got going on in their personal life, and they're just taking out on you, right? Because they don't have anyone to talk to. So if you offer them that lending ear, that's how you build a better relationship with somebody, I feel.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Tell me a bit about your mentality your first year at Penn State, because, here you are a highly recruited guy going there, and you see the names like Allen Robinson and Christian Hackenberg. All those guys are there. What was your expectations of the year and being a freshman on that team?
Well. So when I got to Penn State, when I had got there, Hackenberg wasn't there yet. So
okay.
Yeah, it was Matt McGloin. Hack came in the year after, but it was Matt McGloin. So I knew Matt McGloin because we kind of was from the same area. He was up in Scranton and I was in Wilkes-Barre, which is like 15, 20 minutes from each other. So, like, I knew who he was and things like that. So my freshman year, I redshirted, and it was tough for me. That was probably one of the most mentally tough years for me, because I was so used to high school and playing and just doing well. So, like, that year I had to sit and I had a redshirt was tough when they first told me, because of everything that had happened and everything that went on. I was ready to play right away. I'm a competitor, so, like, I always feel like I'm able to contribute, to help my team and do things like that. But I didn't realize that at that time I wasn't ready. I was not mentally ready And I was physically probably ready. Athletically, I was ready. But, like, mentally wise, I had no idea what I was getting myself into just because when I first got there, Bill O'Brien was the coach, and we were running the Patriots offense, and the Patriots offense is not easy. Like, we run a pro style offense, and it was so many different, like, adjustments to different plays. You see this coverage and you see this. And I had to get my mind right for that, because when I was in high school, we ran a lot of just no huddle and signals. So it was just a signal. I seen the signal, and that's how mentally, far I was at the time. And then when I get to Penn State, I didn't realize how much more goes into it. Like, it's not about just being athletic anymore, because everybody is fast and everybody's strong, and it's a lot of people that might got the same mindset as you. It's some people that come from the same background as you. It's some people that don't. You know what I mean? So at that point in time, I was just, after about like the fourth or fifth game, I realized how fast the season goes. So I was like, man, this rest of the year going to be over like that. Like, so, but at the time I was still at practice. I traveled to every game. And I was on the scout team, but I was going against the first defenses all the time. Like, and I was making plays all the time and things like that. And then, after that year, Hack and stuff got there. And then this was really, Allen, he just had that year before, he had just did well, and then he was coming in, and I learned a lot from Allen. That's my boy, man. Like, it was a lot of things that I had learned from him that I had to just as being a receiver, because actually a lot of people don't know the transition from being a quarterback to going to receiver is a lot harder than you think. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had the foundation of receiver in me, but those last 2 years of high school, I was playing quarterback, so I had to transition my mind again. But it helped me as a receiver because I knew, like, where the quarterback would need me to be at.
I think you touched on a really good point of, just how tough the transition from high school to college is for players, because when you're playing for a Power 5 team like Penn State, you're inevitably on high school going to be one of the best players on your team. Like, you're one of the alpha dogs. And now here you are at Penn State, you're at the bottom of the barrel, right? And your mindset to accept that, but still continue to work hard and get back to being the alpha dog on the team, I think is so difficult for athletes. And I think it goes really underappreciated by a lot of people.
Absolutely, man. People don't, like I said, that transition, that mental transition of you keep getting older, and then you realize your junior year comes around and you like, man, I was just a freshman. Like, I was one of them young guys that was just trying to figure out what these old guys was doing. But now it's young guys looking at me like, look, you the older dude now, man. You gotta show us that you've grown from freshman year. You gotta show us that your leadership characteristics have gotten better. Like, you got to show us that you have developed more as being a receiver and things like that. So it's a minute. Like, the thing is, it's a lot of pressure, but pressure make diamonds. And the thing is, I love seeing other guys grow. I love seeing the growth of other guys. I love teaching. I love just, seeing somebody figure something out and didn't realize that they always had it in them, but they just needed somebody to pull it out of them mentally. And the thing is, once somebody can trust you and realize, like, man, like, this person has done this and he has been through this, like, I need to keep paying attention to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. You had some really good years at Penn State, but of course you ended off your college career at Oklahoma. How hard was a decision to make to leave Penn State and go to Oklahoma?
Yeah, man, it wasn't easy. It was tough because, you have to understand, like, I'm from Pennsylvania, you know what I mean? Like, Penn State, like, going to Penn State is like me being like a hometown hero type. And it was tough because I met some of my best friends at Penn State. I'm still to this day, my roommates, and I met a lot of good people. And I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for Penn State. Going through the sanctions and going through different coaches and stuff like that. Like, it helped me so much. At the end of the day, I just knew it was something, more that I needed to do for myself and for my family. It was my last go around, my last year, and I needed to do it for myself. And at that point in time, I had to really sit down and like do study for other teams and other stuff like that. And Oklahoma, everything just seemed right with it, and everything seemed good. And the coaches and the players, you know what I mean, it's always good to be appreciated somewhere that you want to be, and they want me to be there with them. And going to Oklahoma, and at this point in time, I wasn't really worried about when I went to Penn State, part of the reason why is because I wanted my family to always come see me play, to come be able to drive up there, when they can and stuff like that. But at this point in time, I had to be a little selfish, man, when I went to Oklahoma. I had to figure, like, listen, I'm probably going somewhere where you guys ain't going to be able to just drive and see me. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand that's a huge mental block too, not being able to see your family, being somewhere by yourself all the time. You know what I mean? And that was probably the hardest thing, but I knew for me, I was like, listen, I'm ready to just let it all go now at this point. Let it all happen how it happens. And picking Oklahoma was probably one of the best choices that I ever made. I had a great time there. Them coaches and the players, they brought me in well. They called me grandpa because I was the oldest player on the team at the time. So you know what I mean. I held my own. I always every practice I went out there, you can ask everybody, every game that I played in and stuff like that. Like I was a competitive dude, man, and I didn't care who we was going against. I didn't care who it was. Like I just wanted to win, and winning is the main thing.
I said before that one of the hardest parts of a high school to college transition is not being the alpha dog anymore. And I think the second hardest part is 99% of athletes, I think they leave their home to go play college sports, right? And whether it's in-state or out of state, and of course you, like you said, Penn State is still. You're leaving home, but you're still in state, so it feels a bit more like home. But going to Oklahoma is so different. Did you ever get over that kind of homesickness feeling during the season, or was it something that you felt through the whole time there?
No, I got over it. Like the thing is, even when I got there, when I got to Oklahoma, like I missed my family, but at the same time, like I knew that it's what I had to do, and they knew that that's what I had to do. So because they all supported me, and they all were like, listen, like you need to do what you need to do for yourself, like and not. Sometimes you got to be selfish and not think about everybody else all the time, because that's usually how I am. I always think about my family and about, how to put them in good situations. But, they told me to just be selfish, pick where you need to go. This is your last year. You need to enjoy it. And I was fine. I drove from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma with my dad. I needed my car down there. So he drove with me the first time. And that was a drive. That was 23 hours, man. That was crazy. But, I got down there, and the thing about me though, I love traveling. I love being in places. I love having my own. I love just being able to grow as a person, as myself. You know what I mean? And I was able to do that at Oklahoma. I was able to really, sit down and realize like, all right, now at this point in my time, I have to be able to do things myself. Like I need to start learning how to, do my taxes and stuff like that. Learning how to, really go grocery shopping for myself. And it's little stuff that you take for granted that your parents and stuff do for you. And then you realize like, I can't believe they did this for 18 years with all these kids going to the grocery store. And now I see like why my mom used to tell us to calm down in there, because we always wanted to grab stuff, and it's you know what I mean? But man, those guys at Oklahoma, man, they definitely opened up my eyes a little bit more just on how things could be in a different conference at a different school, and just seeing a different atmosphere. And it was something that I needed to go through, and I'm glad I went through it. And it was a successful situation.
Yeah, you mentioned having that strong family supporting cast, making that transition from Penn State and Oklahoma. And for a lot of the athletes that I talk to, I always ask them, what's one piece of mental advice you would give the young kids these days if they want to reach professional level? Like what's one mental thing to work on? And they always say having that strong, close group of friends and family, because you can't do it all by yourself. And I think it takes a bit of an ego check as well to realize you can't do this all by yourself. You need friends and family there to support you and pick you up sometimes when you're down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You definitely, especially when it comes to family, man, like I'm really close with my brothers and sisters. I'm close with my mother. I'm close with my father. You know what I mean? And especially, it's just, you got to, at some point, you're going to have to talk to somebody, man. You got to, your best friends. I talk to my best friends all the time. I talk to them probably every other day, you know what I mean? And it might not even though when I'm talking to them, it might not seem like I'm venting to them, because I'm really not venting. We just speaking on stuff. But those are some of the people that know exactly who I am, and they'll tell me the truth, and they'll tell me how I really need to feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like they won't just tell me what I want to hear. They're gonna tell me the truth, and that's always what I want to mean. Like, tell me the truth. Tell me Just like in football, like I used to tell, like when I redshirted my freshman year, I used to ask the coaches, like, what do I need to do? Like, what do you see that I need to work on to, get to the next step and get to the next, next wave? And they would tell me, and I would work on it. And that's how I feel like it needs to be. Like to learn, you got to mess up. You know what I'm saying? And I think like when you mess up, you learn like, oh, well, I know that didn't work, so I can't do that again. So then you have to adjust to fix it. And those are the type of people I love having around me. You know what I mean? The people that are going to help me adjust and that I'm going to help them adjust too.
Moving out of state to play college ball is one thing, but moving to a different country to play ball is a different thing. When did the CFL become an option, and what was your thought process through all of that?
Yeah, so after Oklahoma, I had my pro day there. The pro day went well. Then, after their draft, it didn't really go exactly as I planned it at all. You know what I mean? It's some things that, that usually every athlete, they have like a way that they see things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And mentally, sometimes it doesn't go that way. So sometimes mentally that can mess you up, man. It can mess you up. Like you'll be so confused on like, well, why didn't this happen? Why didn't I get drafted? Why didn't this team pick me up at undrafted free agency? Why didn't you start questioning too many things? And I'm not going to sit here and say I questioned a lot, but I did question a couple things. I was wondering like what happened, like why, like, with some more of the NFL teams that I had talked to, but then I had to come to realize that, you know what I mean? Everybody can't be a first round pick. Everybody can't get drafted. Everybody can't be an undrafted free agent. Some guys got to be tryouts guys like I was. I had 2 tryouts. I had a tryout with the Cincinnati Bengals for rookie minicamp, and I had one with the Seattle Seahawks. And it was like back-to-back weekends. And I hope that those they went well, but they just didn't go like I thought they would, you know what I mean, at the end. And I thought I would sign a contract with them, but it didn't happen that way. So I had to keep fighting. I had to keep grinding. And then my former agent, he basically told me that I was waiting for a while. I was waiting, and at some point I had to make a decision for myself. I gotta be able to pay my bills. I gotta be able to provide for myself. You know what I mean? And it was like 3 days of camp left up in Montreal, and they had my rights coming out of college. And my former agent told me, they want you to come up for the last 3 days of camp. So I'm like, all right, the odds are already against me at this point because it's 3 days of camp left. But I was like, you know what? Come on, I'm not waiting no more. Like, let's just go do it. But I will always to this day, I will bet on myself in any situation. I don't care. I know what I'm capable of, and I know my potential. And I got up there them last 3 days. They weren't even in pads no more. They really was walking through a lot of stuff, and I was trying to figure out like how do I show these dudes like I can play. Like it's all like slow. But then it was one preseason game left. Got in a preseason game, and I ended up making this one-hand crazy catch that was on the TSN, like the Sports Center. It's like the Sports Center, but I was on the number one play. I had the number one play. And it ended up being the number one play for like 3 weeks. And I ended up making the practice squad, and then it's history from there.
Yeah, history for sure. And this year being named a CFL All-Star in the Eastern Conference is a pretty big accomplishment. Yeah. Tell me a bit about, if anything felt different this year compared to years prior of, why this year went so well, and maybe a bit about your relationship with Vernon, because, the quarterback wide receiver relationship is so interesting, and you guys kind of feed off each other there. You help him make plays, he helps you make plays, and all that stuff.
Right. Well, the crazy thing is, a lot of people don't know, but that catch that I had in that preseason game was from Vernon. It was from Vernon, and he ended up. I think that year he ended up getting traded. He got traded, and he ended up coming back around. But it was basically the difference between last year and the years before with Montreal was I was trying to make a name for myself. I wasn't one of them big time names that had just came from the NFL, or you know what I mean, or just one of the guys that been up there for a while. I was a guy, really. I was a guy, and I was behind a whole bunch of other guys. I was behind Nick Lewis, who is he has the most catches in CFL history.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast too before. He's a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, man. Hey, Nick's a good dude, man. He's hilarious too. He's a good dude. Then we had it was Ernest Jackson out there that was playing out there, and he had just won the Grey Cup with Ottawa. He had the game-winning touchdown like a year or two before that. And then we have B.J. Cunningham, who's still there now. That's my dog. He's the all-time leading receiver at Michigan State, I believe. He got some records there, and then it was Tyquan Underwood. He played at Rutgers, and then he got drafted some years back. But I was behind some good dudes, man. I was behind some guys that been through it, and they've been going through it for a while, and they were all successful. And I was young, hungry, and I wanted to play now, and I wasn't really trying to hear anything else. And I was in practice making plays, and I had a lot of veterans wondering why I wasn't playing and stuff like that. But it was just because I didn't have the coach's trust yet all the way. I didn't have it all the way. Like, you know what I mean? It's a process that you have to go through. And then, the year after that, some guys got hurt, but I started every game. Some guys got hurt, and then I ended up leading the team in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. And then after that year, which was this past year, the first 3 or 4 games was a little funny. You know what I mean? They weren't going as I planned. And then once again, there was some guys that got hurt. I got my position got changed, basically to the X, which is it's basically like the American position where like you stay on the line, like there's no waggle and stuff like that. And like that's all I really knew. I knew, you know what I mean? But I knew how to play all the positions, but like I loved playing the X. And we played Hamilton. We played Hamilton one game, and they had like one of the best corners in the league. And he had like three pass interferences on me in the first half. And then I started making plays after that. And then once they seen that, they realized, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's a little faster than we thought, or he's a little smarter than we thought. And then like the trust started to come on more. And then after the weeks go on, I started doing more, and they start adding me more to the game plan and things like that. And then, like I said, me and Brian, that's my boy, man. So we already been through it. We was talking every day, and I was like, look, I got you, and he got me, and we just turned it up. We turned it all the way up, and then the coaches start trusting me a lot more. Then I was able to, coaches start having me come in and ask me like, where do I feel comfortable, and what are the things that I like to do, like to let's try to get you the ball more and things like that. And hey, that's they put the eggs, all the eggs in the basket with me, and I try to do everything I could to help the team win.
Yeah, we're all still kind of waiting to see if the 2020 CFL season is going to happen, or what's going to happen with it at all. But being named an All-Star last year, does that change your mentality heading into a season?
Oh, I'm still as hungry, and I actually want more. I don't think that's enough for me. Like to be honest with you, I love being the CFL All-Star of the East Division, but now I want to be a CFL All-Star of the whole league. You know what I mean? I want to be in the top 3 all receiver categories. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, because at the end of the day, my goal is still to play in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like I'm grateful for the CFL. The CFL is keeping my dream alive, and the CFL has been a blessing to me. It's helped me, do things in life that I never thought I would be able to do. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful. And right now, my mindset is CFL. Right, that's what it is right now. But I know my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to, I want to get to a training camp. You know what I mean? And once I get to a training camp in the NFL, that right there tell me everything I need to know. Like I just want to make sure, you know what I mean? And until that door is completely closed, I'm gonna keep going for that goal. And I also know as long as I have that mindset, it's just going to keep me hungry. It's going to keep me grinding to get better and better and better each and every year, because I don't like to get content. I don't like to get comfortable, because just that when I get comfortable, it's somebody else trying to take my job. It's somebody trying to take me. And that's another thing mentally that you have to understand. Like, while your time is your time, you need to take advantage of your time, because there's somebody else that's coming next after you. And there's somebody that was just like me when I came up here, and they were hungry, and they just needed somebody to believe in them and trust in them. And I know for me, I don't want to be the one that they get. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm still at the top of my game. I'm still doing the things that I need to do. And, that's the way I look at it.
Listen, man, I got a collection of 10 of my favorite football quotes to do with the mental side of the game. Mm-hmm. I'll let you choose, number between 1 and 10. I'll let you choose it maybe 1 or 2 times. I'll read you the quote, and I want you to tell me what the quote means to you and reflect on it a bit, and how it's kind of what it means to you into your career and everything.
Okay.
You got a number between 1 and 10, and I'll read you the quote.
7.
7. This one's by Don Shula, of course, legendary Dolphins coach.
Yeah.
He said, the superior man blames himself, but the inferior man blames others.
Yeah. That's literally. It's like the leader of a team. He's going to take the shots, man. Like I say like this. It's like Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan was going to take. They were going to win it or lose because of Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So if they lost, it's on me. You know what I mean? Because this team is they got to make sure that I got to make sure that I can lead this team. You know what I'm saying? Night in and night out. And then you have other guys who you know, like they want to do the blame game, where they don't want to take all the responsibility. They don't want that pressure. They don't want all the bad feedback and stuff like that. Like it's like mentally, it's some people that can't take that. It's some people that can't. It's not all for them. You know what I mean? But the guys that can take, you know, whatever that comes to them and just man up to it and just take it, you know, you got to respect that a lot.
Let's do one more here. You got another number between 1 and 10?
Yeah, 3.
This is from Lou Holtz. I think he was Notre Dame coach back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. He said, if what you did yesterday seems big, you haven't done anything today.
The coaches always say, man, it's not about – they always say it's not about what you did. It's about what you're doing for me right now. Like that's literally how this world works now. Like what you did yesterday, like that's awesome. That's great. But that has not like that yesterday don't got nothing to do with today. Like you got to go out and do it again and keep doing it and be consistent in everything that you do. You know what I mean? Because once, like I said, if you have one big game and you get comfortable and you like, oh, I did this and I did that, and then the next game you don't do anything. Oh, it's a love and hate relationship in this game, man. It's about what you're doing for me right now, not about what you did in the past. When you retire, it'll be about what you did. But while you still playing, it's about what you did for me right now.
And it's like you said, your mentality going into the season coming up is just because you're an all-star last year doesn't mean you're going to be an all-star this year. You still got to work as hard.
Exactly. Like I said, it's the person that's across from me, he getting paid too. So, you know what I mean? You got to – he out there for a reason.
Listen, before we wrap up here, I got a couple rapid-fire questions here for you. Now that we're in quarantine and everything, what are you binge-watching these days?
I binge-watch The Wire on Hulu. I binge-watch another show called The Heights, and I've been watching a lot of Hey Arnold. I'm a big Hey Arnold dude.
Yeah. Bring it back to the 90s. I like those. Those are some cool picks.
Man. Yeah.
What's your quarantine snack of choice right now?
My quarantine snack of choice, Nutty Buddies. It's like the Nutty Buddies, like peanut butter wafers, man. And gummy bears. I love gummy bears.
Those are dangerous. Those are dangerous.
They're very, 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 very dangerous. The good thing is I work out almost every day. So
yeah. What's favorite food you've eaten in Montreal so far?
My favorite food that I have eaten in Montreal so far? Ooh. Well, I'm just gonna go off of this because it's probably the most that I eat a lot of boustan. So boustan is like it's like a halal guys type thing. They make like pita sandwiches and stuff like that. I mean, I know a lot of people gonna look at me crazy because I said boustan, and it's like it's not a fast food, but it's not like the best quality food, but I love boustan, man.
Yeah.
I do boustan.
I've been to Montreal a couple of times. I was there just this past August. And every time I go, the poutine is just unreal. And there's this Portuguese poutine place they got there that's near my buddy's place, and I get it every time I go there. It's why I go to Montreal. It's the food. It's unreal.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 with the poutine, man. Like it's a hit or miss with me. I'm not a big fan of cheese curds though. I'm not a big fan of cheese curds, but there's some place that you can go that they got all types that you can get. Yeah.
Something for everybody.
Yeah,
What's,
right. Exactly.
Your favorite away environment you played in college?
Oh, in college?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is tough. When I was at Penn State, I would say Nebraska and Wisconsin was serious. I'm not gonna lie. Those I like Nebraska, but unfortunately I like Nebraska, but every time Nebraska scored, the whole stadium, they let balloons go in the air. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then if I say at Oklahoma, it would probably be the Red River Rivalry game is crazy. We play that in Dallas when we play Texas, and they say it's a mutual like a in the middle destination, but it's a Texas favorite, like home game really. But we bring a lot of people. That game was unbelievable. I'm not gonna lie.
That was at Jerry's World?
No. So there's a Cotton Bowl stadium.
Gotcha.
So they play the Cotton Bowl now in Cowboy Stadium, but there's a whole other stadium that they just use the Cotton Bowl for, which is outside, and it's near like right. It's right in the middle of the Texas Fair. It's actually like crazy, one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
And of course, what's your favorite place to play in at the CFL?
My favorite place to play in at the CFL. Ooh. I love playing at McGill Stadium. Our fans probably the best, but if it was an away game, either Saskatchewan Stadium is crazy, and maybe Calgary when it's nice out.
Yeah, you gotta show Hamilton some love, bro. I'm from Hamilton. We come up for the fans. We come up for the fans. There you go.
Hamilton's not bad. It's a different city over there, but it's not bad though.
Yeah, it's not bad. Most toughest matchup you've had as a wide receiver, college or pro? DB wise.
Toughest matchup I probably had was probably when I was at Penn State and we played at Ohio State one time, probably against Roby. Roby played for the Broncos for a while.
Roby, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if he's there no more, but he was a good matchup. And I think Trace Wayne's the one. He went to Michigan State, and I think he played for the Vikings for a minute.
Yeah. Those are some tough matchups, man.
Yeah, they were good players. They were good players, and I was young at that time, so I know now I got way more for them boys now, though.
Last question: Who would be a good guest in the podcast? Who's somebody you know, an athlete that's got a strong mental game that you look up to?
That I had played with.
Anybody you know?
Anybody that I know? I would have to go. Damn, I played with a lot of dudes. You know who I would probably pick? One of the most mentally toughest guys is Antonio Pipkin, man. That's my boy.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Pipkin, I played with him. I was with him the last 3 years in Montreal, and then he's with Edmonton now. But he was a quarterback for me. He was a quarterback for me not last year, but the year before. He was a little bit last year too, but the year before. And that's my boy, man. He's a very, very, very mentally tough dude. And I always say, especially for quarterbacks, you got to be even more mentally tough just the way that you have to approach things, because there's only one quarterback on the field at one time. You know what I mean? And so you have to know exactly what everybody's doing. You have to be the first one there, the first one to leave. Like you can't do like all the other positions. Like some positions they can leave right after. They can. Yeah. You have to be that guy though. You know what I mean? And I think Pip, man, especially all the things that he's been through. Like he's very, very, very tough-minded person.
If you got a plug, man, I appreciate it. If you got a line over there for him.
Say that again?
Say if you got a plug for him, let me know. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I can hit him up for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate it, man. Anyways, man, again, I appreciate you taking some time today. Hope again your friends and family and yourself are staying safe and healthy through this whole thing. And hopefully, I know everything with the CFL is a bit up in the air at the moment, but I hope it gets resolved soon and we can see you back out there balling again. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time. I thank you for having me on. I just thanks again, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. I would say best of luck this season, but I'm from Hamilton, so I can't wish you too much luck. But when you guys are outside of Hamilton, I'll wish you a lot of luck. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that Hamilton game, man. I owe a couple of guys some things over there. So there you go, man. Anyways, appreciate your time again, man. Take care. All right, man. You too.